Hi everybody, I'm James from My Single Dad Life. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to talk a little bit about self-worth, how we find our own self-worth, and whether or not it depends on other people for our sense of well-being and how we value ourselves. So why is it important for us as parents to talk about that? Well, I'm a parent of three young kids, and it's important for me to be able to find ways to find happiness on my own and be content so that I can in turn be a better parent for my kids. So if that self-worth or sense of feeling good about yourself or any value, sense of value, is tied to whether or not you're in a relationship with somebody who maybe values you, or you're having someone tell you on a regular basis that you're valuable, if we're tying our self-worth to that, that's going to let us down every time. And the reason for that is because we can't control the emotions for other people. And so you may be in a relationship where somebody walks away from you. So we've all been in relationships that have ended, or most of us have. I've been in relationships where the other person has chose to not be part of the relationship. So you're left kind of wondering what it is about yourself that you could have done differently, or what is it that maybe you weren't valuable enough for that person to stay in the relationship. And that is a totally negative way to be thinking, because there's nothing we can control about the other person. And I think the sooner we realize that when people walk away from us in relationships and move on to do their own thing, we're all going to go through that period where you look back and you say, what is it about me that I could change to do differently? And those are healthy things to go through and say, what did I contribute, or how did I contribute to this relationship falling apart? But where you get stuck on saying, why was I not valuable enough for this person to stay in the relationship? That's a negative spot to be. So by tying your self-worth to whether or not someone chooses you or not is essentially like walking into a car dealership and saying, I'm not going to buy a car here. And the salesperson saying, what is wrong with what we're selling? Like, there's obviously something wrong with these cars. This guy didn't pick the car. That seems ludicrous. I mean, none of us would think that we should walk into a car dealership and instantly buy it just because we've gone in there. Somebody might be in a relationship with you and might have completely different desires or goals in life than what you have. And for that person to decide to move on and go and chase those other goals does not mean that you're not a valuable person. So if you want to be successful in life, stop depending on other people for your happiness. Whether or not people choose you, whether or not people always like you, that's not going to happen in life. We're not in an environment where everybody's going to love everything we do. We can be great people, we can love other people, we can show kindness to people, and people are still not going to like you. So the sooner that we can learn that our sense of self-worth and our value does not have to be tied to other people, and we can work on ways where we can do self-care, we can focus on how we can be better people ourselves, and the opinions of other people, I mean, they're their opinions for their reason. If you can find a way, I truly believe that if you can find a way to be 70% happy on your own, you'll be more attractive to other people. So, and I don't mean that in a dating sense. I mean that from a friendship, from a how do you help other people with their lives. If you can find a level of happiness, because there's not 100% happiness out there. There's periods where you're completely 100% happy. But when you average it out in your life, you go through ups and downs. And if you can stay 70% happy on your own by finding ways to be content, you're going to be more attractive to other people. If you go around saying, oh my gosh, I don't have somebody in my life, I need to be dating, or I need to be from one relationship to the next relationship, you're not going to be happy, and you're not going to be attractive to other people, because people are going to look at you and say, this person is always needing something from me. So I have a truck. I drive a truck. I haven't always driven a truck, but when you drive a truck and people say, oh, I need you to come over, I need you to move something for me. And then that same friend calls you up again a week later, hey, can you come over and pick up something at Home Depot? And the next week, I need you to move furniture for me. At some point in time, when you feel that people are only taking stuff from you, that's unattractive. And so as people, by looking at other people for our sense of well-being, that can come across as taking a lot from other people. So if we can find that on our own, and you can look at yourself and figure out ways to be content and know that you're enough on your own, that's going to be far more attractive to other people. The other thing I wanted to say just in closing here is, remember, whether or not you believe in the universe or God or a higher power, so I say God, but I'm going to say just remember that God doesn't make junk. So when you look at yourself and you realize you're like, I've got flaws and I've got this and that, you're perfect the way you need to be. You're perfect the way you are. So love yourself. You're fine the way you are. Focus on finding ways that you can be content on your own before you go and try to find happiness with other people. Otherwise, you're jumping from one situation to the next, and you don't find happiness, and you're not bringing happiness to those other people. So I do wish you all a good week. I hope you're having a great week and you find ways that you can be content. And, whether you're a parent or not, if you can find ways you can spend time with your kids, find joy that way. I hope you have a great week. Thanks so much for listening. Take care.